Hello, welcome to today's edition of Political Voice on Voice of the People TV. I am Masinachi Okafo. Because there was a lot happening in the political space in Nigeria, but of course we have two stories on our radar today that we are going to talk about. The first, some politicians and military personnel gaining from Borno's insurgency crisis, says Governor Zulum. Plus, Fubara takes steps to address unwarranted violence in Rivers State politics, announces a new promise. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by two esteemed guests. Here in the studio, we have Mr. Dele Fanimo, a citizen journalist with over 3 decades of experience. Mr. Fanimo is not only an administrator, but also a respected political affairs commentator and social critic, and also an in-house analyst as well. Welcome to the show. Also, we have joining us in our studio Mr. Peter Anosike. Mr. Anosike is a philosopher, development economist, and a best-selling author. He's also an erudite commentator on economy, finance, politics, and power. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Before we get right into the stories, let's take a global overview of happenings around the world. On Wednesday being today, South Korean opposition parties files a motion to impeach President Yoon Suk-yeol following his brief and controversial declaration of martial law, which resulted in heavily armed troops surrounding parliament. Lawmakers had to climb walls to regain access to the building, where they unanimously voted to reverse his order. Impeachment requires a two-thirds parliamentary majority and the approval of at least 6 constitutional court justices. The motion, backed by the main Liberal Democratic Party and 5 smaller parties, could be voted on as early as Friday. Amid the confusion surrounding Yoon's decision, top advisors, including Defense Minister Kim Yong-hee, have offered their resignations, with the Democratic Party also seeking Kim's impeachment for allegedly recommending the martial law. Yoon defended his actions, claiming a need to combat anti-state elements, but the martial law lasted only 6 hours before being overruled by the National Assembly. French Prime Minister Michel Barnier faces the possibility of being asked in a no-confidence vote on Wednesday being today, merely 3 months after President Emmanuel Macron appointed him to lead the government. Also, the motion was introduced by opposition parties following Barnier's controversial decision to utilize special powers to push his budget through without a parliamentary vote. In an appeal made on French television on Tuesday night, Barnier indicated that it was possible he might survive the vote. However, opposition parties from both the left and right are expected to come together in their efforts to remove him, exacerbating the political instability that has plagued France since the summer elections resulted in a fragmented parliament, thereby increasing the pressure on Macron. Since the snap elections in June and July, which were unexpectedly called by Macron and led to no single party achieving a majority, France has been in a state of political uncertainty. Although a left-wing coalition secured the most seats, Macron appointed the conservative Barnier in a bid to restore stability. However, his government has continually struggled due to its lack of parliamentary majority. Now, bringing it back home, South Africa is eager to partner with Nigeria to utilize critical minerals such as lithium for green energy and electric vehicle batteries. President Cyril Ramaphosa expressed this during a business roundtable in Cape Town, coinciding with President Bola Tinubu's visit for the 11th session of the Binational Commission. Ramaphosa highlighted opportunities for collaboration in the pharmaceutical sector and noted that both countries can benefit from the growth of clean energy manufacturing. He presented South Africa's Just Transition Framework and Investment Plan, which anticipates substantial investment in the new renewable energy sector. Ramaphosa emphasized the need for both nations to leverage their natural resources for green industrialization and called for local processing of critical minerals. He also voiced strong support for Nigeria's bid to join the G20 and underscored the importance of global cooperation in addressing economic challenges. Ramaphosa concluded by affirming South Africa's significant role in global affairs and its potential for future growth. We'll now go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll go straight into today's topic of discussion. Stay with us. Welcome back and thanks for staying tuned. Borno State Governor Professor Babagana Umar Zulum has claimed that certain individuals are benefiting from the ongoing insurgency of Boko Haram and are therefore opposed to its resolution. The Boko Haram crisis has plagued Borno and other northern eastern states for years, resulting in thousands of deaths and the displacement of many. Despite some reduction in the terrorist activities in recent years, the fight against Boko Haram is not yet over. In an interview, the governor expressed concern that some individuals profiting from the insurgency in the northeast and Chad are undermining efforts to combat it. He stated, there are people who do not want this insecurity to end because they would not be happy with that. While he acknowledged the successes achieved in the battle against the insurgency, the governor lamented the resurgence of Boko Haram members returning to the area after being driven out of Chad. He urged the public to rally together and support security forces in tackling the Boko Haram threat. However, he did not specify who those profiting from the insecurity might be. And of course, we mentioned that we have our in-house analysts, Mr. Dele Fanimo and also Mr. Peter Anasike. I'm going to throw this question at Mr. Dele Fanimo. Isn't it quite interesting that the governor of Borno State is mentioning that there are people benefiting from the insurgents going on there, but there were no names mentioned?
Well, the governor would not ordinarily mention names. But the fact that you also have to know that just like the president, the governors get security reports from the Directorate of DSS per hour in their states, just like the presidency and the president also get such reports. And I'm sure that it is the accumulation of this report that brought about the pronouncement of Zulu.
Okay.
And they say, who feels it, knows it. He is the one that is in charge of that state that had been bedeviled by Boko Haram insurgency in the last 13, 14 years. And he is somebody that is eager to bring dividends of democracy, development, and inclusive growth to Borno State. But he is also not happy that the mileage would have covered, he couldn't cover because of insurgency. A lot of people in Borno State have been displaced from their homes. We hear of a story recently that some of them got married to 2, 3 wives in their IDP camps. And for you to be out of your natural habitat for so many years, the likelihood is for you to just accept your fate where you met yourself and begin to procreate. So now, if he is saying it, I want to say that I've had an encounter with some retired and serving military officers and men that have told me in the past that if not for the state and non-state actors that are benefiting from this Boko Haram insurgency, they said it doesn't take them time to take out these people. In fact, one of them described them as ragtag area boys. That most times when they want to, or they are going after these people and they want to rout them, signal will come from above that they should retreat. Sometimes they get conflicting signals, either to proceed or to retreat. And so, if such had been happening, then that tells you that there are some people that are benefiting from the insurgency. Of course, you should know how much had been deployed for arms procurement, for military ration, for those in the war front, and the logistics of failing with diesel, with petrol, their vehicles, and also making sure that they are comfortable, which most times don't even get to the soldiers in the battlefront. And you saw some of them even deserting at the war front, taking a whole absence without official leave. So that is to tell you that there is a whole lot of mix. I remember that in 2019, I was coming from Bangladesh. Incidentally, this army officer and so 2 or 3 other colleagues, they were in the same aircraft with me. And because we boarded Emirates airline, and Emirates would have to stop in Dubai. So it was at Dubai. I didn't know them. I didn't notice if they were military men. It was at Dubai when I wanted to buy something at the duty-free shop, and I just discovered that the dollar in me was not enough. So I wanted to just take my leave from the queue, and the man just beckoned and said, "Come, what is going on, sir?" I said, "I wanted to buy something, and I needed like $35 to add to the dollar in me." And the man just brought out $100 bill, gave it to me. And I told him, well, when we get to Nigeria, I will make sure at the airport, Abuja, I would pay you back. He said, no, don't worry. I was wondering, this man does not look like the bourgeoisie. So we boarded later, and we got talking, we became friendly. That was when he introduced himself, that I am so. And I said, what are you doing in Bangladesh? He said they came for military training. That has been there for about 3 or 4 months then. That he had just finished that training, that he was going back home. And I said, what are you going to use this training to achieve when you come back to Nigeria? He said he was withdrawn from Sambisa Forest for this training. And he showed me pictures. In fact, he was the one manning the landmine detonator vehicle. The tire of one of the tires of this vehicle is as tall as this building. Big vehicle. I've never seen that in my life. So he told me, I said, but if you have all this training, you are doing all this. I opened up to him. I told him I'm a journalist. And why have you not been able to tame these insurgents? He said, there is more politics than military in Boko Haram. That most of these guys, he was the one that described them as unorganized, ragtag area boys. He said, if they are given the marching order without restraint, that in 2 weeks they will rout Boko Haram and it will be a thing of the past. But because some people high up there are benefiting from the continued harassment and the killing by this ragtag army, that's why they have not been able to tame them. And he told me, he said, most of these Boko Haram fighters, that when you catch them, what you see in them is just a loaf of bread and sardine. That they have never arrested anyone that has even $10 bill in his pocket. So they were just radicalized and given false hope of what they are going to benefit from hereafter. And they came out because they were not educated enough to understand and ask questions on why would I go out, leave my parents. And of course, most of them, they are almajiris. They don't even know their parents. The only parent they know is the sheikh they handed over them to, at infancy. So he told me, he said, do you know that captains, majors, they contribute 3 million naira monthly as thrift amongst themselves. And as at that time, the salary of a captain or major could not be more than maybe 280, 300. And they are making contribution of 3 million naira. Where are they getting this money from? So it's only validated what Zulum is saying almost 5-6 years after. So I want to believe what that man said. He's talking from point of knowledge.
Okay.
And let whoever, do you know that today, if you give a high-ranking military officer the option of choosing between Niger Delta for command post or Northeast, that is even more volatile and more dangerous, he would rather choose Northeast. And you ask me why, and the answer is obvious.
All right, Mr. Peter, he also did say something, Zulum did say something about the fact that many times informants are being, arrested, and many times also military personnel were arrested trying to provide ammunition to the insurgents. And I want to get your thought on that.
Well, for me, every system, bad or good, benefits some people.
Okay.
Any system at all, whether bad or good, people benefit from it. I have not been to Borno since Zulum became governor. But what I'm hearing is that he is a high-performing governor. And such a person shouldn't be happy why millions of his people are in ID camps. He will want to do more. He has excelled in education and will also want to help his people. So saying that some people are benefiting is obvious. It is obvious. Anywhere there is a fracas, people benefit. But I keep on saying that the best cure for insecurity is good governance. Once people are happy with their government, because these terrorist bandits don't live in the sky. They live among the people. They live in the communities. But when the people are not getting the benefits of a government, they will not want to give this government useful information. They will not want to give this government useful information. I have heard in Niger State where bandits were sharing palliative to communities, while government shared none. When this Naira scarcity under MFN 2003, bandits were sharing the new Naira notes that even ordinary people don't have access to. So people now don't know who benefits them more, whether these bandits, terrorists, or government. So that's why they will easily get information, people giving them information. And again, there's a lot of sympathy for these people in the north. The terrorists, as we are calling them bad people, in the north, they are not seen as such. Mind you, Sheikh Gumi is saying that these are hungry people that need help. El Rufai has said the same thing. Understand? So they are being seen as miscreants. Understand me? And not really as dangerous people.
If you say that they are seen as miscreants and not dangerous people, we see most of the times we see them, showcasing themselves on social media. We see, sharing stuff and, But then I want to also understand, I know a lot of people also want to understand out there, most times when we have cases of insecurity and it pertains a politician or someone who is popular in Nigeria, most of the times people go to any length to make sure that maybe someone who is kidnapped is being released, paid any amount of money. I remember there was a time it trended on social media, someone that was quite popular, went missing and then monies were collected and paid for ransom. So, and we know very well these people make use of phones, these people make use of water, they eat food. So, and we know that it's like a chain. There are people who supply this food to them. There are people who supply arms and ammunition to them. So are you trying to say that if Nigerian government actually wants to, work to reduce the insurgency in Nigeria to the barest minimum, are you saying that we cannot be able to achieve that?
It could be achieved if there's political will to do that. But an instance now, the chief of army staff is from the south, is from the southwest. If he goes on out, mobilize, go and finish Boko Haram, it will be interpreted as the south killing the north. So this thing will make him to exercise some restraints. Understand me? Mm-hmm. Then the soldiers who are drafted there could also see that they are being sent to kill their own people. There's always they say there's a saying that blood is thicker than water. Understand me? So they are seeing these people as their own. And I've told you that these people are seen as miscreants, not really as dangerous people. So that sentiment will always be there.
All right, Mr. Dele, talking about sentiments always being there, how do you think that this can actually work? Removing sentiment. I mean, we have a lot of our own people. They might not be Yorubas or Igbos, but we have a lot of people that die, as a result of this insurgents in Borno State and in Nigeria at large. There's a lot of our brothers and sisters that are being displaced and a lot of things happening in the country. How do you think we can be able to, remove sentiment and know that we are fighting for a good cause and we are fighting for one cause in Nigeria?
You see, I'm a little bit close to the military to the extent that I know that once you're a soldier, within the 6 months of your training as a rank and file, you are made to understand certain rules of engagement. Okay. For instance, have you ever seen a soldier disarmed and you go to the barrack to say, my gun is lost, and they will welcome him? He would rather go on a wall and never return to the barracks. Have you ever seen a soldier that will be deployed and they will say, no, I'm not going because that place is too far? So those are the things they would have inculcated in them while in training. It is not the soldiers in battle that would stunt achievement of routing these people. It is the officers that do the deployment. It is the instruction given to them that they will carry out in the war front. If a soldier is about catching a Boko Haram member, and there is an instruction, superior instruction, that, my friend, stop, retreat, don't shoot, except he wants to be court-martialed, that's when he will disobey his superior's order. And then, it's a up-bottom approach in the military. That's why they say it's regimented. Either you like it or not, you must obey. And that's why they use this apes obey. Now, there is a commander, there is a GOC, there is a chief of army staff, there is chief of defense staff, and above all these people, you have the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. That is why the president, during ceremonial occasions like National Day, he wears one rank that no soldier in this country has ever worn, which is Field Marshal. That is the topmost rank in the military. But soldiers don't go beyond general, full-star general, four-star general. The Field Marshal takes five-star general. You understand? The only person that had won that rank and called himself Field Marshal is Idi Amin. So, if the CEC does not have the political power, the political will to instruct wholesale the Chief of General Staff, who is the four-star general, the highest in rank for those in the military today, that Chief of Defence Staff will not pass contrary instruction to the Chief of Army Staff, Chief of Naval Staff, Chief of Air Staff. And then if there is no order from that rank, it will not come to the GOCs or AOCs, Air Officer Commanding, which is equivalent of GOC, and the Naval
Commanders.
Naval Officer Commanding, you know. So down the line like that, then you have brigade commanders, you have commanders up to the second lieutenant, that is the last rank, the least rank in the command structure. Then if such thing would not happen, how would a corporal or sergeant unilaterally carry his rifle and say he wants to go and fight? Right. It's not possible. So for me, it is not about the emotion of saying, I cannot kill my brother. It is not what is working here. Okay. But those people that Zulu is referring to are the people that have the power to instruct, to order, that are not ready to order or instruct. If Tinubu decides today and calls his Chief of Defence Staff and Service Chief to a meeting and say, I give you machine order, without showing any political ambivalence, I want an end to insurgency in this country in the next 3 months. And if you cannot make it in 3 months, put up your resignation letter. You will see how they will go. Have you ever seen soldiers in operation before? When they are ordered by their boss? Despite the people that are said to be, benefiting from the insurgents. These are the people that are benefiting. Somebody who is a contractor in the Senate and is an armed contractor. How will he sit in the Senate and not lobby people not to allow government to go all out for insurgents? How will a general, when a captain or major lobbies to go to war front, you ask yourself, what is he going to do there that will benefit him more than when he's in a peaceful environment? If not for pecuniary gain. I told you, if a captain, even as it is today, a captain does not receive up to 600,000. As bad as the economy is. Yes. And then somebody who receives 600,000 now goes on trips every month for 3,000. Then you should know what is going on. So these are people that Zulu is referring to. Okay. And until there is that political will and the coming together of these people to say, collectively, let's rout these people. We will not get anywhere.
All right, we hope that ends in Nigeria as soon as possible. Well, moving on to the second topic of discussion this evening, Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara'S has reaffirmed his dedication to ending political violence in the state while receiving a report from the State Commission of Inquiry into the destruction of local government secretariats. He committed to implementing the Commission's recommendations regardless of who may be affected, emphasizing that politics should be a contest of ideas rather than violence. He lauded the Commission, led by Justice Ibiwengi Minakiri, for their efforts despite facing challenges during their investigation. The Commission's report, completed within the Governor's 30-day deadline, revealed important facts through visits to affected areas and included various documented findings. Justice Minakiri urged the Governor to take action on their recommendations, noting that same parties implemented did not appear to defend themselves before the Commission. Meanwhile, the Rivers State High Court has nullified the suspension of Awaji Inombek Abiante, a federal lawmaker representing the Andoni Opobo Nkoro constituency from the People's Democratic Party, the PDP. The suspension, which was enacted in May by a factional PDP Ward Caretaker Committee, aligned with FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, stemmed from allegations of anti-party activities and factionalism. However, on December Second, Justice G.O. Olo ruled that the committee lacked the constitutional authority to suspend Abiante, highlighted that he was not given a fair hearing and declared the suspension unconstitutional. And we said that we still have guests in the studio, analysts in the studio, Mr. Fanimo and Mr. Peter Anasike. I'll throw this question at Mr. Peter Anasike. There's something that caught my interest when I was reading this story because they mentioned anti-party activity, which we know very well that Nyesom Wike is not solely free from performing anti-party activity amid everything happening in Rivers State. How do you react to that?
I want to start with the committee report.
Okay.
I want to commend the governor for setting up the commission of inquiry and because anywhere there's no peace, there will be no development. And in Rivers State, in the last 1.5 years, it has been from one crisis to the other. So the governor has not really been focused on governance. And they say when to end up and fight, it is the grass that suffers. So the fight between Wike and Fubara'S, it is development that is suffering in Rivers State. It is the people of Rivers State that is suffering. An instance, this withholding of Rivers allocation, it is the people that are to suffer from it. Understand me? It is the people. So I commend him for setting up this committee and let it not be a witch hunt. Understand me? I believe that it was objectively, that the investigation was carried out objectively. Then the guy that was suspended because he identified with Fubara'S. So the PDP, which is under Wike, accused him of anti-party activities. And now suspended him, which they don't have any right to. And the court has done the right thing by reinstating him. The issue is this, talking of anti-party, if Damagu, the acting national chairman of PDP, is really working in the interest of PDP, Wike shouldn't have been in PDP up till now. Wike should have been expelled not more than 2 weeks after the presidential election because he worked against his party. He worked against the presidential candidate of his party. In this, is either you agree or you don't. You cannot be in two political parties at a time. It doesn't happen. But I believe that that's in the fullness of time, Wike will be shown his way out of the party.
All right, thank you so much. Mr. Dele Fanimo, how do you think, Mr. Anasike did say something. He said he wishes it's not a witch hunt. That's the committee of inquiry that was, brought out by Fubara'S. But then how do you think that he's going to make sure that there's accountability, to ensure that there's adequate accountability, to make sure that there's no witch hunt?
So my fear about all this probe thing and the politics going on in Rivers State is that, just like Peter said, rather than face governance, they play politics. And the best time to really work and face governance is the first 2 years of an administration. The other 2 years is they are focused on politics for second term and all the rest. That's when the senators will abandon Abuja and come back to their constituencies and begin to rock boats. The House of Rep member, all manners of things. Even the governor also wants second term and all that. So, unfortunately, we are in December. by May next year, we would have clocked 2 years in this administration, and there won't be anything for the people of Rivers State, and it's so sad. Secondly, you see, Fubara should, as much as possible, because he is the one that holds the milk bucket. That leper can destroy that milk bucket if you are not careful and you are not circumvent to the extent that you protect that milk. Because a finger of a leper dipped into that pot or bucket of milk has destroyed it. Even the presence of a leper close to the milk is enough for everybody to abandon the milk. And the leper in this case is Wike. Wike has nothing to lose by causing more problem in Rivers. But Fubara has everything to lose if he allows Wike to cause trouble. What I would suggest is this probe thing, at the end of the day, is not going to bring anything substantial other than indicting people. And when people are indicted, they want to fight back. And in the process of fighting back, Rivers State will be on the boil, and there won't be any opportunity for governance. So for me, if I were, rather than Fubara going ahead with this probe and coming up with report that will be gazetted and that will indict people, particularly players in the opposing camp that will be indicted, particularly Wike, who is not known to shy away from rough fight. I would suggest that Fubara should underground begin to rally well-meaning stakeholders and elder statesmen in Rivers to see how best they can approach this problem with political solution rather than going ahead to go for the jugular of those supposed transducers of his administration.
All right. Well, the both of you said something that he's being distracted from doing his job as the governor. But I bet you that a lot of people that live in Rivers State would disagree, because a lot of them are of the opinion that regardless of the trying to distract Fubara from doing his job, that he's doing an amazing job in Rivers State. But then the revenue generated from Rivers State as at the time Fubara took over power has been more than what Wike had when he was the governor of Rivers State. So how do we judge this two?
That's not an accurate report.
Okay.
He has been distracted enough. Understand? He has been going sleepless nights over this. So there's no way. One, he had not focused 100% on governance. So anybody that is telling you that he has done more than Wike is a pro-Fubara person. He has been distracted. He himself cannot even deny it. He cannot deny that this fight is not affecting what he ought to have done or what he
that they denied the allocation. How much revenue is he generating that has surpassed what Wike was generating in peacetime?
So you cannot compare crisis time and peace time. So my wish is that there should be peace in Rivers State, so that even if there's development now, let there be more
development.
And let there be more development. Every day, if it's not going to court, another thing is happening.
Setting up proper and all that.
So he had not really been 100% focused. But I wish that there will be peace so that he can do more for his people. At least get his second term.
Get his second term, you say. He bringing up a committee of inquiry. He also did mention that he is trying to, reduce political violence in the state. But we know very well that the fight between him and Wike is more like the only fight that we know in Rivers State that has caused a lot of chaos, a lot of violence, a lot of, shootouts, a lot of riots and protests and all of that. And, they would always say that a person starts from home. You start from your home to build before you go outside. So is he not supposed to try as much as possible to have peace within him and Nyesom Wike before talking about trying to bring in peace and reduce political violence in Rivers State, Mr. Fanimo?
What has really caused political violence in Rivers? Is it not as a result of the crisis between him and Wike?
Exactly what I said.
So, for me, if today the people of Rivers State, including the thugs, including the non-state actors, if they see Wike and Fubara embrace today, everybody will go back to their various homes and keep quiet. But until that happens, I doubt if there will be peace. Because if there is reduction of tension, Wike would instigate one that will make the place boil. And because when crisis erupts and it festers for a long period, it develops branches. And that's why in peace and conflict studies, they'll tell you that before a tree grows to a point to develop branches, cut that tree. And that's why they use the word arrest. Arrest that crisis. Because at the end of the day, if you don't arrest, for instance, if I have a problem, if I'm fighting with Peter today, you can call us to order inside this room and say, Peter, why are you fighting Dele? Why are you fighting Peter? Let's resolve this matter. But the moment we step out, in that studio, some people will take side with Peter. Some people will take side with me. It will start festering. By the time we get to the lobby, other people will join Peter, some other people will join me. Now, even if I decide to reconcile with Peter, those people that are fighting on the opposing camp, how do you get them to come to the table? And that's what is happening in Rivers today. People had pitched tents, either for, against the governor. And they also benefit directly or indirectly from pitching tents. So it becomes a big problem to resolve this matter. Even if Wike decides to say, my brother, we have fought enough, let us reconcile. What about those people that have been benefiting from Wike, even through contracts in FCT? They will say, no, you can't agree to this. No. This guy wants to lay ambush for you. You have to fight on. And if Fubara people will come, this man will make inroads into this state. And if they make inroad, they will rout us. Let's not lose our guard. They will still continue to fight. So what would have been done when the iron is still hot, the steel is still hot, in the anvil, in the blacksmith anvil? Now it is cold. No matter how hard you beat it, it won't form to shape. It cannot form to shape. And that's the position we are today. That crisis, except God intervenes and except people begin to reset their brain and look beyond Wike and Fubara and consider the well-being of Rivers State. We are not getting anywhere.
You mentioned, Mr. Anosike, you mentioned 2027 in view. And then we know very well that the Rivers State is a big city. What do you see in 2027 about governorship elections in Rivers State?
One is going to be tough. It is going to be tough because Wike is still strong with his position as a FCT minister.
Yes,
he still has his war chest, his money, his security, understand me, gas. So he has all the ammunition that will fight. And he will want to rubbish Fubara. He will want to make sure that Fubara will not get second term.
But a couple of persons, sorry to cut you there, but a couple of persons are of the opinion that with the ongoing fight with Wike and a lot of other persons and Fubara, that they feel like the president might get tired of Wike and decide to.
Decide to Rivers, with regard to election in the country,
Yeah.
Rivers State is the third most important. We have Kanu, Lagos, Rivers.
Rivers.
Understand me?
Yeah.
So it is very, very important to any political party in the country. Understand? So the president will be interested in what is happening in the state. And he'll have to check who will he use to win Rivers State. Is it Wike or Fubara'S? Understand me? So anyone that he feels will be better for him, if he feels that with Fubara'S he will win Rivers, he will abandon Wike. Politics is about interest. Understand me? But if he feels that Wike can do that for him, he will continue with Wike. Understand me? So what Fubara'S will do is make sure that he gives the dividends of democracy to the people of Rivers State. He will make sure that the people of Rivers State are on his side. Because politics is about numbers. Who has the bigger number win? A Yoruba hand up singer Fatai Ronin Donas has a song, Ekeresi number one. We pass them with numbers. So whoever has the numbers will win, assuming that the election will be free and fair.
Oh, assuming the election will be free and fair.
Yes.
All right. Mr. Fanimo, let's get your concluding thoughts on the first topic as well as this topic as well.
Oh, on the first topic, I think our politicians, particularly those who have the stick to wield in the fight against insurgency, should summon courage and take a decisive step to eradicate the scourge of insurgency, banditry, kidnapping in Nigeria. It is doable, and we can do it. We have the military might. If our military could succeed in Sierra Leone, in Liberia, during ECOMOG, and even in United Nations sponsored peacekeeping in Haiti, in Myanmar, and all over the world, they give us medals for doing human jobs across these continents. Then why should we now be lazy in our own home? Why should we now be found wanting in our own home? It tells you that there is something beyond these fighters. There is something beyond the military that is holding on to this military, that they couldn't do those exploits they did outside Nigeria. That's one. Then on Rivers State, whichever way we look at it, these gladiators need to sheath their sword, and they also drop their ego, because most conflicts, if not all conflicts, are fueled by ego. Why should I? At this point, they will say I'm a weakling. Well, even in our homes, in our marriages, ego leads to divorce. I know I cannot go and beg him. After all, I have equal rights. No, I cannot go and beg her. After all, she's my wife. I'm the head of the family. And the whole thing will crumble. It's the same thing here. I'm sure some stakeholders would have gone to Fubara'S and say, look, rather than this man pouring sand into your gari, why don't you just approach him and say, brother, come, whatever I've done, in the interest of these Rivers people, let us sort out our differences and let Rivers breathe. But until then, I don't see this crisis getting resolved.
All right, Mr. Peter Anosike, let's have your concluding thoughts, please.
Well, at the first, it's like the second. Understand? That's for number one, it's just about putting the country's interests first and our pockets second. That's what is happening. Some people are benefiting from what is going on from the insurgents in the northeast. Some people are benefiting, both soldiers and politicians. They are benefiting, and they know that once peace returns, their benefits will stop. So some people are sabotaging that war. Some wanted that to continue. But if they can put the interest of the country first, it will end. Then, for number two, I say where there's no peace, there will never be development. Development is suffering in River State now because of the war between Wike and Fubara'S. So if they can put the interest of River State first, understand? Because government is about the people. Understand me? And this, as Mr. Fanamo said, it's about ego. Somebody will go to Fubara'S. You are the commander-in-chief. Understand? The box up at your table. You have all the powers. Understand? Go all out on this man. Somebody will go to Wika and say, this is your boy. Understand? You must make him to submit to you. And these are people who are also gaining from this crisis. And they know if there's peace, what they are gaining will stop.
Yeah.
So they will keep on stoking the ember. So it's not about putting the country first and putting other people first.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Peter Anosike and Mr. Dele Fanimo, for being on the show with us today.
Always my pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
All right. This is all we can take on Political Voice for today. Political Voice will make a return tomorrow, being Thursday. I am Masinachi Okafo. Have a good evening.